No? Hello, thank you for joining us on MIRS TV, where we strive to educate, inform, and question issues regarding foreclosures, banking, and the economy. My name is Janet Reiner, and today is March 27, 2013. Today's topic is homeowners' nightmares. Our guests today is Shelly Erickson and Steve McKay. We decided to have this show because of the fact that this, as a community of homeowners, we need to be aware of the fact that we are not isolated in our nightmares regarding the banks and foreclosures. And today we have, like I said, Shelly Erickson and Steve McKay. And this is Shelly Erickson and Steve McKay. So please, I understand you guys are here because you have some nightmare stories to talk to our guests about what was going on in your foreclosures, and the fact that these are stories that are pretty common throughout everyone in the foreclosure process. So, Steve, can you sort of briefly and within 5 minutes talk to us and tell us some of your nightmare stories?
My nightmare has not been so much on a foreclosure because I was in a position where I got my house paid off, and so I was feeling comfortable. It was a place I planned on living with my girlfriend and building a rocking chairs and you know, growing old together.
Sure.
And along came this nightmare where somebody just claimed that they had rights to my home.
But this is after you paid it off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was paid off in 2007, and
okay.
along comes these people in 2011 that, you know, are claiming ownership of my home and trying to bring me into court. They don't know who I am. So, they don't even know my name, but they're just trying to stake a claim on a piece of property.
So 4 years later, after you paid it off.
Yeah, and almost 4 years to the day, and they had to self-dismiss themselves because they didn't even have the right paperwork. So, you know, but in so doing and bringing me into court and doing this, they were able to obtain the information because I have to allow them to self-dismiss, so I have to put my name down. So they finally discovered who I am and you know, and who my girlfriend's name. You know, they left other people named on there that they didn't even know, which, you know, but the thing is, it can happen to anybody, and it'll happen for the reasons that you least expect. You just don't. Nobody values your home like you do because it's your home. They just look at it as a piece of land that they can make money on it, and they don't want you to find out you can make money on it. They want to make your money on it.
So what are they claiming to be as far as for, you know, taking your house away? What are they doing?
Well, they actually had made a deal with a neighboring property and brought those people to be basically a scapegoat, somebody that would look like they're the ones involved in this. And when they brought us into court, it took me, I had to find a lawyer, and many of them just wanted to wash their hands of it because they knew how convoluted my case was. And it was requiring a lot of money. I mean, these guys wanted $5,000, $10,000 just to look at my case because of how of how deep it was. I finally found one that just knew that there was wrongdoings going on, and so I had to give him $1,500 as a retainer, just to get him to look at the case, and he saw an opportunity for himself to make money. He acted on my behalf. He presented just a small amount of the paperwork I had, you know, and a judge recognized that these people were doing something wrong, that they had nothing with their names on it and my name's on it. They were referring basically to another property and trying to attach my acquaintance with my neighboring property. And after a long nightmare, you know, I found myself awarded the judgment creditor, and these people that took me into court lost the case. They were the judgment debtors. Unfortunately, the documents just said, I don't owe them nothing, they don't owe me nothing.
Okay, so you won your case.
Yeah. On
that case, you won.
Yeah,
okay.
and I simply thought, okay, now I'm the judgment creditor, my payments are paid off, this can't be happening again. And you certainly wouldn't believe that it could happen from the same people. And in my case, my address has a number and a letter at the end of it, you know, and so the address has this B at the end of the address. I had to sign documents when we bought the house that was an address certification to ensure that the address we were buying was actually the address, and it documented that this has to be an accurate document or it's an invalid. So all they did was move the letter to a different place in the address and brought the judge, took it in front of another judge, didn't tell the judge.
So this is a second judge.
Yeah, they didn't tell the other judge that they've already been in the Snohomish County Superior Court. They've already lost this case in front of another judge.
In front of the first,
Yeah.
they lost it in front of the first
Yeah.
judge, so now they're bringing it in front of the second judge.
Yeah, with different facts, just more lies, trying to create this ownership thing. And if they get a judge to buy into it, and by changing my address, obviously my notification of any action against me went someplace else, and I didn't get notification. And they were able to say they served it because they served it on neighboring property, and where there was nobody at. So they, now I don't even know this is taking place until all of a sudden the sheriff nailed something to my door, says be out in 3 days.
Did you even go to court? I mean, did you even?
No,
You, you weren't even notified. You didn't even
Well,
show up at court the
we
second
were
time.
notified that they were trying to bring this case at us, and when we were notified of this, a lawyer was acting on their behalf. And so after being through this once before, I thought, okay, this time you've cost me enough of a nightmare. Now I have a counterclaim for $400,000. Now you're going to have to really pay for trying to put me through this nightmare again.
The second time.
Yeah. Well, lo and behold, the lawyer, before I knew it, all of a sudden there's this other law firm involved, and they've made another change in the address. And address in a place where I've been paying the PUD bill, and it's recognized this address for 8 years, and it's never changed. And everybody that I receive mail, I mean, I get mail from the federal government,
Right.
from
So you
the
go,
Department of the Federal Aviation Administration with my correct address.
right. So you go to the so what was the result of the second
The
hearing?
second one, I discovered that what they did was they had this sent to another house. Those people kept my documents, and they waited until the day had passed when I was supposed to be in court. That was a FedEx package that was received by a neighboring party who was actually a part of this scam, and upon receiving it, they even wrote received on there and a date, and then they waited for my date to pass, and then they came over and put up my door one night. I came home from work, and fed my cat, and everything was good, and I went out to get the cat in, let her back in, and when I opened the door, there's this package at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night from the FedEx. They usually knock or something, and I pick it up and I'm looking at it, and there was actually two of them, one for me and one for my girlfriend. And so I opened one up, and I'm like, wait a minute, this was a month ago. How come
a month ago?
Yeah, I mean, this package had been received on these other people's doorstep, and they accepted it.
A month ago.
On December the 19th. Well, it notified me of a case on January the 13th. Well, my house, was broken into like the Sunday before this, and I called the sheriff about it, and then this document shows up on my door the next day. I reported the burglary or the break-in to the sheriff. I don't know if they were trying to find evidence that would be on their behalf, or I don't know who did it, but lo and behold, this package shows up, and I open it up, and I find out that it's notifying me of a case that was over 2 days ago, and I didn't even get a chance to be in court, and
Wow.
and
So when you contacted, so after you realized what was going on, and you contacted the judge, is that correct?
Well, yeah, once I didn't really I mean, I saw this, and I couldn't believe that it was happening. I got some legal assistance, and I tried to address it, and I had not realized how far they had progressed, because I'd already been through this once before. I thought, I thought I was on the right page. I thought the law was on my side. I actually had a judge rule on my behalf. I had no reason to believe this other judge has any reason to be a part of this. In fact, I believe he was deceived by these people that changed an address. They presented another judge. They should have told the judge, this has been in your court before, and we lost, so we shouldn't be here. But they didn't. They weren't honest. They made up this new address and this new story, took it in front of another judge that didn't even know he was ruling against his peer on a case that's already been ruled on.
It's an interesting thing with lies. You could either lie through omission or lie through commission, and it sounds like they lied through omission. Is that
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, they're not playing fair. It's a judge shouldn't be lied to. If you got to face a judge, you should tell him the truth and take your lumps if you got them coming.
Right. So where are you right now on that?
Well, like I said, I got this thing nailed to my door. It was released by the judge. I don't think the sheriff was. I'd like to think the sheriff wasn't a part of it, but when it was released to the sheriff's office on February 12th, and I didn't get it nailed to my door till the February 25th, which just happens to be a short month, and all of a sudden on the February 25th, I come home from work, and there's this package, this thing on my door that says "Get out" by March 1st. Now, this is
March. Okay.
yeah, this is March. You know, this was
Couple of
Monday
days.
Monday night, and I got till Friday morning at 6 a.m. to be out of my house. Everything, you know, and I'm going, wait a minute, this don't even have the right address on it. And so
Wow.
I spent the next 3 days in the courthouse, running from courtroom to courtroom, trying to get somebody to, hey, wait a minute, stop this. This shouldn't be happening. And I know how bad it's going to be. If they get me out of there, you know, trying to get back in is going to be even more difficult.
One of the concerns and questions that I have is the fact that you paid everything off. The loan has been paid off.
Yeah.
Everyth's been paid off.
Right.
This whole nightmare that you're living through should never have been if
No.
it's been paid off correctly.
Absolutely.
So the question comes to mind is, why are you having to live through all this if the note's been paid off? And that's a question that every homeowner needs to ask, is if I pay off my loan, will I have to live through this nightmare again? So
Yep.
that's what you're living through right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you discovered that these places where you're supposed to record documents and these people that are supposed to look out for them, you know, they've changed the laws where a title insurance company doesn't even have to insure their paper. They basically can sell you insurance and make you pay for title insurance. But if you have a problem, and yes, they're there for both parties, you know, and you know, but if you're paying for title insurance, you should be able to rely on the fact that they're going to protect your title. But they slip these little clauses in there that says that they can resell your paper anytime you want. Now, with my case, I discovered this going on beforehand, and I watched it coming about before we paid the house off. I mean, before we even closed on the house, I had 11 deeds in my possession because they kept flipping this house over while I was waiting to close. And so that's why I was anxious to get it paid off and get it behind me. The last mortgage, the last deed, this option one mortgage in California, and the deed dated November of 2005. It showed that this is the end of the road, and if I get them paid off, when you receive a letter from them saying, thank you for paying off your mortgage, and this is the remaining $70 in your escrow account, and pleasure doing business with you. You think it's all behind you.
Right. Most people do not realize that according to the title insurance company, if you look at their Schedule B, it states very explicitly that the title company do not warrant against defects of titles that are not recorded in the county records. So that's something for you to be able to realize. The title insurance company basically are there for the benefit of the lender, and they're not really there for the benefit of the homeowner. So this is something that's probably been problematic. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Now, Shelly, you have two other people that have given you information regarding their foreclosure nightmare. And thank you so much for being on our show. And you know, one of the people that you have talking about is Kathy. Her name is Kathy. And can you tell me a little bit about what's going on with Kathy?
Yes, and I'd like to state that Kathy couldn't be here today because this has affected her health so bad that the doctor's afraid that she can die just discussing it.
Well, you know what? And this is a common thread. This foreclosure crisis that's going on with all the homeowners, it's affected people emotionally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, financially, and every which way. And this is the reason why it's so critical for people to be aware of this. So please tell us what's happened with Kathy.
Okay, with Kathy and her family, they were not behind on their loan. The funds were misappropriated. She was trying to get it straightened out with the bank when she was given a foreclosure notice. The family got upset. They went down. They had the money and the ability to pay off the mortgage. They went down and asked for the payoff figures. The bank refused the payoff figures.
Why?
And still, for no unknown reason, they wouldn't tell them why. They wouldn't give them payoff amount, and went ahead and foreclosed on a house that should have never been foreclosed on again.
Do you know what bank it was?
It was Bank of America.
Okay.
It involves a Recon Trust.
Recon Trust.
And
Well,
MIRS.
you know, now, since then, Recon Trust has been in trouble with the Attorney General here in the state of Washington for not being a valid trust within the state due to law issues. They did not at the time have a physical location. So if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but Recon Trust has been attacked by the Attorney General, and consequently, those foreclosures and that status is no longer valid here in the state of Washington.
Exactly, but they're still foreclosing with Recon Trust papers.
They're still?
Still, Jamie's house is Recon Trust, and it's also MIRS. And it's right on her complaint and summons that Recon Trust is part of the complaint. They're still holding their documents valid. With Jamie's situation, which is another situation, she was on national television.
Now this is another homeowner,
This
Jamie.
is a different homeowner
Okay.
that was on national television. She was, because Bank of America representative came to her home toting a gun twice.
A gun?
A gun. Threatening them that they were in foreclosure when they were in a modification. And Jamie was so upset, she started crying tears, called the media. And then I found out about this because it was on the media, and contacted Jamie and asked her, sent her attorney some information. And because it was on national television, Bank of America's lawyers sent a letter to Jamie's family and her attorney saying that they were going to rescind the foreclosure, they were going to withdraw the sale.
Rescind the foreclosure. So withdraw the foreclosure.
And that, and then Jamie and her lawyer were surprised with a complaint and summons from Bank of America, Recon Trust, and MIRS.
So they rescinded they rescinded the foreclosure and then turned around and sued her.
Sued her, and what the lawsuit said, what the complaint said, was due to Jamie's family. Oh, the reason we're not saying the last name is because they are in litigation.
And we want to respect the privacy.
Due to Jamie's family agreeing to the rescinding and happy with that and agreeing to do a mod with us, we're asking the courts to give Bank of America quiet title.
Oh. Why would they have to give quiet title if everything was done properly?
Exactly. So Jamie's attorney realized that this was not right, so instead she filed for quiet title. Well, the bank has now agreed to give the Jamie's family quiet title, but they're not willing to let go of the debt and want Jamie's family to sign up a new note, still owing the debt, even though they're going to give them quiet title. Does any of that make sense to you?
Absolutely not.
It does not. It does not.
Okay. Then Jamie's firm said they were going to withdraw in 2 weeks if Jamie didn't come up with enough money to fight this, when they had agreed that they would take money out of the ending results, and wanted Jamie to sign this. So her original attorney that's with that firm is agreeing to go ahead and protect Jamie in the manner that Jamie should be protected. This is crazy, just crazy. Somebody's in this.
Well, you know, it's unfortunately these stories are not unusual. Unfortunately, these are the common stories throughout all the homeowners. Is that a lot of this craziness is going on. And the challenge here is that a lot of homeowners feel as if they're isolated in their stories and isolated in their scenarios. And I think the real issue here is for people to understand that you're not isolated. This is not unusual. Your case is a common thread throughout all these or with all these foreclosures. And please be aware that the fact is, one of the reasons why we're bringing these stories to light is because we want you to understand that there's a community of people out there who are having the same issues. So that's crazy.
Absolutely crazy. It's still sitting there in that mode right now, is where their family is at.
Now, you have a gentleman named Duncan.
Yes, and Duncan's another one in litigation, so we won't go into any last names here. And he actually had loaned a second mortgage to a woman that decided to walk and allowed the foreclosure process to happen. When he discovered that, he went in and he filed his lien, won his case.
Okay, but wait a minute. Now, was Duncan a second lien holder or a first lien holder?
He was a second lien holder.
Okay, so the first lien holder ended up going into foreclosure. Okay.
So Duncan then, after he won his case on the second lien, went into JMAC Bank and asked for the payoff figures.
JMAC is who? JP Morgan?
No, JMAC. It's a different one, and I'm not too sure what JMAC stands for, but it's JAMAC Bank.
JAMAC.
JAMAC Bank.
I've heard of GMAC, but that's not the same company.
I don't know for sure. I couldn't tell you that for sure.
Okay.
And then JMAC refused to give the payoff figures, and they foreclosed on the property and stole his equity.
So my question to you is, and this question for everyone to ask is, why would a bank not give out the payoff amount?
Exactly. Because,
And you know, especially if you're capable of paying it off, and you want to pay it off, why is it that the banks are not giving these payoff figures for homeowners to pay off? So you know, this has happened twice now.
Yes,
So
that
how
I
does
know of. I
happen?
actually know of another incident, but it was long enough ago. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he had the money to pay off his house also. That was a couple of years ago, and I talked to one of my clients at my day spa, and they wouldn't give them the payoff figures either. So I know of
So
three
there's
people
three
that
people
uh,
were
personally,
ready, willing, and able to pay it off, in which the banks refuse to give the information. Not that they're capable of, they are capable of giving out the payoff amount, they're just refusing to do it.
Exactly. And why?
And why? The question is why. Okay?
Well, I think
Well,
I
you
know
know,
that answer, but
A person needs to begin with looking up the word mortgage in the dictionary and finding out that it really has nothing to do with the money itself. It's just the creation of paperwork that allows these people to claim a right to transfer your paperwork to someone else. With my case, like I said, the 11 documents that were 11 deeds were created, which, if you've paid any attention to what's been going on, these instruments, these mortgage derivatives, are packages of these false mortgages that have been created. When you apply, they use your name. They might use it on 6 or 8 other people's homes and attach it to a document that now is some sort of a instrument that they put into a little group with 100. I've got a page that shows 40 counties in this state have recorded something with my home on it.
40 counties.
40 different counties in the state of Washington alone. And the company that originally accepted that I signed with was Option 1 Mortgage of Bellevue, Washington. And by the time I received a payment, it was already in California with Option 1 Mortgage. And the recording request that came to us said that it was recorded in 2003. Now, I didn't make the purchase until November of 2005. How is it that my document is recorded in a county in California in 2003 when I didn't even know the home existed then, and it's got my girlfriend's name on it?
How does that happen?
Well, that's a good question. How does that happen? It's because of these backdating and these changes in the laws allowing companies to have no regulation. When a title insurance company is not obligated to back its title insurance because the banks are losing money, because the banks have loaned money to other countries and stuff, and now they have no claim on it there, and their title insurance companies don't benefit them. Well, we got to protect ourselves somehow, so they make title insurance companies still be a part of the package, and you're led to believe that you've got to pay this fee. But why would anybody pay a fee for insurance if it's not going to be insured?
Right, and that leads to the other issues regarding title insurance. And one of the challenges with title insurance is the fact not only of the Schedule B, but also with the title companies where they have closing transactions and they have indemnity agreements where lenders will actually come up and tell the title company, I'm sorry, we don't have the original promissory note. I'm sorry, we don't have a deed of trust. I'm sorry, we don't have any of this. But the title company goes, we'll have you sign an indemnity agreement, and we will allow you to go ahead and close even though you do not have the proper documentation, and we'll just go ahead and close anyway. The challenge comes in is that even though that they're signing the document, the law is the law is the law, and the law states, what does it state? Doesn't it state that you have to have the original note,
Yes.
the original
Absolutely.
deed of trust?
Yes.
But the title companies sort of makes you wonder, how is it that they, by having the lender sign a indemnity agreement, whether or not that's legal to do. So I'm just throwing the question out. I'm not an attorney. I don't profess to be an attorney. This is not a legal opinion. This is just me throwing out a question, ignorant as I am.
Well, I've done 2.5 years of research because my house was paid off for 3 years before I even got wind that somebody felt they owned it. Almost 4 years. And then, when I realized that somebody was going to, I said, bring it to court. I can't wait. My girlfriend kept every paper, and the title insurance companies. When you have title insurance, you'd like to think it's going to be in the state. And in fact, I use a title insurance company that's right across the street from the courthouse. Lawyers Title at Colby Avenue in Everett. The courthouse is 3 blocks away. And yet, the documents I've got shows Lawyers Title, TransNation Title, TransUnion Title, Land America TransNation, Stewart Title in Pinehurst, North Carolina.
It just sort of made the route, didn't it?
When you see a document that says we're going to go with Stewart, and I'm looking up the Stewart Title's location, and I'm going Pinehurst, North Carolina. And now, why would you go all the way over there? There's got to be some title companies here, and with my case, I seen this kind of stuff going. So the first title company that approached, or the first trustee, happened to be a lawyer who was taking a trustee, and it was a fictitious mortgage company. This mortgage company didn't exist. In fact, when I notified them that I will not be honoring any title insurance requests, I actually told them that, you know, you will have to show me proof that you have legal obligation to do so. Well, it didn't work that way, and sure enough, they basically created a title insurance, an escrow amount, you know, that even it actually stated on the directions by this person, said that we want you to create this escrow account, and we want you to take the vested title that's in these two women's names,
Thank
and
you.
then
Thank you.
yeah,
and
not
thank
report
you.
and then not
Right.
record it.
So Shelly, with the people that you know who are going through these homeowner nightmares, you know, there seems to be a common thread. Can you tell me what that common thread is and what your, an opinion, not a statement of fact, but just an opinion, as far as these homeowners are going through this, and homeowners who are also going through this that are not here, you know, as far as we're concerned, as far as I'm concerned, there seems to be a common thread with all of this. Can you tell me very briefly, within, you know, 30 seconds or so, as to what you think the common thread is?
They don't know who the lenders are. The lenders don't know who the lenders are, and I don't believe that there's any real authentic notes.
Right.
There's no authentic documentation, and I saw that at a Senate meeting. I was watching a video of the Senate meeting I should have been at. We were told not to come.
Senate Bill, Washington State Senate House Bill 1435.
Yes, at that bill meeting. We were told not to come, and so I wasn't there, but I was watching the video meeting because we were told the bill was going to be pulled. It was a bad bill. Senator Roger Goodman stated blatantly that the lenders do not know who owns the loans, and then in the next Senate meeting, I was on that very bill, the Stuart Hulson's testified, and he is the attorney for the Title Association,
for Washington Title Association,
and he blatantly testified to the Senate committee that to the senators, if you expect the authentic documents for a reconveyance to sell property in this state, you will never be able to sell your houses.
Wow. That's amazing. That's something that they need to do. Well, you know, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the fact that you spent the time and the energy to come here and to tell your story for everyone to listen to. I hope our conversation today has been informative, educational, and inspirational for your life. If you wish to join our show and to help investigate, disseminate information about foreclosures, mortgage fraud, and missing or any other issues that you feel useful or important, please contact us at janet.reiner@MIRS Now, or visit us at www.mirsnow.com. Thank you for joining us on MIRS TV, and we look forward to seeing you again on our next show. Thank you so much for joining us.
I think that went well.
Yeah.